Butterfly Girls. One spring day, Flutter the butterfly girl was picking wild flowers in the meadow. She plaited them into a crown and placed it on her head. Then, from nowhere, she heard an unfamiliar tinkling laughter. She looked right and she looked left, but she could not see anyone. Suddenly, 7 butterfly girls flew out from behind a tree. "Come with us," they giggled. "Okay," Flutter said and flew to join them. The butterfly girls were all pretty but very naughty. They loved to play tricks on people they met. The first was Alfonso.
"Give me back my violin!"
the cricket shouted, because one of the flying butterfly girls had snatched it out of his hands and flown off with it. She played music on it surprisingly well.
"Give it back!"
Alfonso complained. The butterfly girl handed the violin to another butterfly girl, who handed it to another, and they all made fun of the poor cricket. Flutter didn't like this teasing. In the end, the butterfly girls gave him back his violin and flew on. They rested on a blossoming tree and stuffed their pockets with sweetly scented and brightly coloured pollen. Then they flew over the boys playing a game of badminton. "Look, Stanley," said Eddie. "They're so pretty." Balthazar, Bubble, Eddie and Stanley stood staring up at the heavenly creatures with their mouths wide open. But they were not happy for very long. The butterfly girls turned their pockets out and covered the boys in pollen. It made all the beetle boys sneeze terribly. The butterfly girls chuckled and their laughter tinkled in the gentle breeze. They flew on so quickly that Flutter could hardly keep up. "Wait!" Flutter panted and rested on the top of a lilac bush. "Come with us. We're going to fly over to the other side of the hill, all the way to the waterfall. It's so beautiful. You'll see," one of them chimed. "No, I shan't go with you," Flutter said firmly. "I live here. I like my friends, and I don't like playing naughty tricks on them. You go, but I'm staying here where I belong." "Okay, well, all the best," they called back and flew away. They flew on to new places, where they stunned those that they met with their dazzling beauty, and then played naughty tricks on them. Flutter watched them go for a while and then smiled as she turned and headed back home. But before she got home, she paid a visit to the cricket. She was happy to see that Alfonso was merrily playing his violin again. Stanley, Balthazar, Eddie, Bubble and Berry were playing hopscotch, and they shouted to Flutter to come and join them. The butterfly girl was happy to see that they had all managed to wash off that sticky pollen. Earache. It was a sunny autumn afternoon and Dolly decided to go and see her friend Berry. "I'm going down to the stream to collect pebbles. Do you want to come?" But Berry didn't feel like going out to play.
I don't know, Dolly. I'm very cold and I've got a headache and my ears really hurt. Oh, Berry, your ears are all red, Dolly said. And you've got a temperature. I'll fly and fetch Dr. Owl. The ladybird flew straight to Dr. Owl's tree. Dr. Owl, you need to come quickly. Berry feels very poorly. Dr. Owl quickly packed his doctor's bag, put on his white coat and hurried to see the sickly snail. Hello there, Berry. Let me have a look at you. I need to listen to your chest. So Berry took off his pyjama top and breathed in like the doctor said. Open wide. I need to look at your throat now. I don't want to, Berry snapped. But I have to see if it's red or not, Dr. Owl explained, and shone a torch down the little snail's throat. And now I'll take a peek inside your ear. This was really too much for Berry. He started to cry and clamped his hands over his ears. Don't be silly, Berry. It won't hurt a bit. And Dolly held Berry's hand to make him feel better. She was right. It didn't hurt a bit. Well, Berry, Dr. Owl explained, you've bad earache. You've gone and caught a nasty cold. You need to have a spoonful of this medicine every day. Drink lots of sweet tea and put bags of warm wheat on your ears. Berry's friends came to help him right away. Balthazar brought honey, Flutter bought chamomile flowers, and Stanley brought rose hips, and they made tea for the patient. Dolly warmed the wheat in a pan and poured it into little cloth bags. Hold these on your ears until they cool down. Berry put the bags on and didn't take them off until they cooled down. Next morning, Dolly found a handful of shiny pebbles on Berry's table. Wow, Berry, lovely pebbles. Who gave you these? I found them down by the stream, Berry said proudly. You went down to the stream? Dolly asked angrily. That was very silly, Berry. You're still not better. You'll get sick again. And Dolly was right. Berry was soon back in bed with a temperature. His little friends came to visit him every day. They read him stories and put on puppet shows. But just as Berry started to get better, Dolly started feeling worse. Now she'd got earache, and this time Berry took care of Dolly. He made her tea and warmed the wheat bags for her ears. Now it was time for Dr. Owl to pay Dolly a visit. Gracious me, it seems we have a new patient. I think you must have caught it from Berry. He told Dolly exactly what to do. Then he took another quick look at Berry. You look well enough, but I'll examine you just in case. Everything's fine. You've made a full recovery, little snail. Another few days passed. Dolly did as she was told and took her medicine. She drank plenty of tea and stayed in bed, and she soon felt much better. Dr. Owl came to see her one last time and told her she was fine. So now we can go down to the stream together and collect pebbles. Berry was very excited. Hooray! Let's all go down to the stream! Dr. Owl's 3 chicks tweeted. Remember to dress up nice and warm. It's cold outside. But there was no need to warn Dolly and Berry. They both wore a scarf, a hat and warm boots. They stayed and played until it got dark and collected a whole bucket full of shiny pebbles.
Seashells. Zephyr the dragonfly and Leapy the grasshopper girl were collecting pebbles down by the stream. Dr. Owl flew down to join them.
I'm going to see Bubble. He's got a sore throat,
he said and hurried on. But soon after that, he tripped on a tree root and fell over. His doctor's bag flew open and everything fell out onto the ground. Leapy and Zephyr helped to gather up all of his things. As well as medical instruments, they found all kinds of strange things.
They were presents from my patients. You shouldn't keep such beautiful treasures in your doctor's bag. You're right. I'll look for a small box, the old owl nodded. But I've got to hurry because Bubble is waiting for me.
Bye-bye, Dr. Owl, the girls shouted after him. Zephyr and Leapy were strolling home when they saw the robin outside Dolly's house. The red bird was just saying goodbye to the ladybird girl. I have to go now. It's a long flight to the seaside. Are you going to the seaside?
Can we go with you too?
Asked Zephyr and Leapy with glee. I'd be happy to take you, the bird replied. They could clearly see the whole forest from high in the sky, as well as the lake and all the little houses. They flew for a very long time until they reached the endless blue of the salty sea.
Thank you for your help, Robin.
And the friends ran quickly to the sandy beach. They collected super seashells and could hardly decide which ones they liked the best.
Look, this one's beautiful too. I'll put it in the bag,
said Leapy as the treasures began to collect in the little bag. Just then the crab appeared and walked straight through the sand-coloured bag, smashing their carefully collected pile of seashells into little pieces. Oh, the shells! She nervously tipped the contents of the bag out onto the sand, but not one single shell was still intact. Don't be sad. The best shells are never on the beach, but deep down at the bottom of the sea. I'll bring you much more beautiful seashells. The girls liked the sound of this. The crab jumped quickly into the sea and very soon reappeared with a collection of fabulous seashells. He kept doing this until the bag was completely full. They're beautiful seashells, Crab, thank you.
It's time for us to go home. We have to find the robin.
But the robin had no intention of going home. Not until the spring, she said sulkily. Then how will we get home again? The girls asked. By turtle! Come on! I'll give you a ride, said a voice from the waves. So Leapy and Zephyr travelled home on the turtle's back. When they arrived back home, they thanked the turtle for his help and said goodbye. The next day, Leapy and Zephyr showed Berry and Dolly all the lovely seashells they had collected. Let's make something out of them, Berry suggested. That's a super idea, but what? Asked Zephyr.
I know. Let's make a box for Dr. Owl's treasures,
Leapy said, and they all got hard to work. The old owl was very pleased with the box, and he carefully placed his collection of special things inside. A pebble, a pine cone, a conker, a pressed flower, a pencil, some drawings, and a wooden horse. The bicycle. One summer day, a pigeon delivered a parcel to Berry and Dolly. It was quite a big parcel and wrapped in pretty red paper and tied with a blue ribbon. Dolly read the note attached. It's from the centipede! Hooray! He's coming to visit us soon, and he sent us this present. To us? Berry asked. What do you mean? To me or you? It says in the letter that it's for us. It's a present for both of us, I suppose. That's silly, Berry argued. I'm sure it's meant to be for me, because I was the one who found him in the snow last Christmas. But he stayed at my house. I looked after him and made him tea, Dolly replied. But I read him caterpillar stories from the storybook, Berry added. The red wrapping paper wasn't that strong, and it soon tore open. Wheels poked out from underneath. It's a bicycle, Berry exclaimed. It's just perfect for me.
No, it's just perfect for me, Dolly insisted. All right, you can have the bicycle if you want it so much. I'll be the bigger person. You're behaving like a silly baby. That upset Berry. That's not fair. I'm going to be the bigger person and you're the silly baby. You can have the bicycle. In the end, neither of them took the bicycle. They walked away and left the half-unwrapped bicycle in the meadow. Not long after that, Balthazar the bee and Flutter the butterfly came by.
What do you think it is? Is it a bicycle?
Balthazar asked. Yes, it looks like it, Flutter replied. There's a note stuck to it. It's for Berry and Dolly from the centipede.
Let's take it to them,
Balthazar suggested. They touched the bicycle and the rest of the wrapping paper fell off. This made them laugh. Look, it's a tandem. 2 people can ride it.
Let's have a go,
Balthazar said. Hello, Berry. Hello, Dolly. We brought you your bike. You left it in the meadow, Flutter shouted. Berry and Dolly came outside. They saw Flutter and Balthazar on the bicycle and felt very silly.
Oh, it's a tandem. We can both sit on it.
And we had such a fight about it. They made friends again and hugged each other happily.
What a super present.
We wasted all our time quarrelling and we haven't made anything for the centipede. He could arrive at any minute, Berry said in a panic. Let's make him a colourful windmill. We can use pretty petals, Flutter suggested. Yes, that's a great idea, Berry and Dolly agreed. The 4 friends gathered red, purple, white, yellow and pink petals and made a windmill. Just then, the centipede arrived in a cart pulled by a mouse. The little mouse stopped in the meadow and the centipede climbed out. He gave Berry and Dolly a big hug. I see you got my present. I hope you like it. It's beautiful. We love it, Berry and Dolly said. And we made you this windmill. The centipede stayed with Berry and Dolly for 10 whole days. They went for long rides on their bicycle. They talked, sang and played a lot. They had a very good time, but the happy days passed soon. I have to go home now. I've had such a super time here, the centipede said. Do come and visit us again next summer, Berry and Dolly said, as they waved goodbye to their friend. The Yellow Ladybird. The spring had come at last. Dolly decided it was time to tidy up her flower garden. She got her spade and a rake and tied a pretty dotted scarf around her head. She had only just stepped outside when she heard someone groaning behind her house. Christopher, your wing looks broken, the little ladybird exclaimed. The sun shone in my eyes and I flew straight into a tree. I really hurt myself, the canary said. Just then, Berry the snail and Stanley the stag beetle arrived. Stanley, please go and get Dr. Owl. Christopher's wing's broken, Dolly said, taking control. Dr. Owl soon arrived. It looks like a very bad break, he said seriously. Then carefully and slowly he bandaged Christopher's broken wing. You know, Dolly, Christopher said one day, there's a little ladybird living on the island I come from. Really? Is she red with black dots like me? Dolly asked excitedly. And what's her name? She's called Katie. Her back isn't red, it's yellow, but her dots are black like yours. She looks a lot like you. Why don't you come to meet her when my wing's better? That sounds like a super idea. Can Berry come too? Of course he can. There's enough room for both of you on my back. A few days later, Dr. Owl came to visit the injured canary. He was happy to say that Christopher's wing was as good as new. The canary thanked the owl for his help, put Berry and Dolly on his back, and headed for his island home. They soon found themselves flying over a large lake with a little island in the middle of the water.
Can you see it? We're flying to that island. My nest is on top of the highest tree. Hold on tight. We're coming in to land.
Christopher landed perfectly, and Berry and Dolly climbed down. "You can't catch me!" shouted a bright beetle in an orange dress. She was talking to the tiny fleas running after her. "Watch out!" Dolly shouted, but the girl beetle ran right into her. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to knock you over. My name's Katie. Who are you?" "Oh, you're Katie. We're here to see you. My name's Dolly, and I've come a long way to meet my ladybird cousin." "Ladybird cousin?" Katie asked with a puzzled smile. "Yes. You've got black dots just like me, except you're yellow instead of red." "Wow, you're right," the yellow ladybird said. "Come with me and I'll show you my house," Katie said. As soon as they saw Katie's house, Berry and Dolly started to laugh. "My house looks exactly like this, but mine's red." Berry, Dolly and Katie took a long walk around the island. "There's the pine forest with the little stream running next to it. We built the bridge ourselves," Katie explained with pride.
And what's that in the middle of the meadow? Berry asked. It looks like a slide.
"That's right. It's a special flower slide. Come with me. I'll show you."
Can I have a go?
"Of course you can. Follow me," Katie said and slid down on the curvy slide. Berry, Dolly and Katie slid down the slide again and again until it started to get dark.
It's getting late. Come on, you two, I'll take you home, Christopher said.
Dolly and Katie swapped headscarves as a parting present. "Have a safe trip home," Katie told them. "Do visit me again sometime." It was getting very late by the time Christopher arrived at Dolly's dotty house. The moon shone and the sky was full of sparkling stars. Dr. Owl gets sick. The first snow had begun to fall. Berry and Dolly sat mesmerised as they watched the white snowflakes cover all they could see. The next day, the side of the hill was blanketed in a thick layer of snow. The ladybird girl fetched her sledge, and there was enough space on it for 3. Bubble at the front, Berry in the middle, and Dolly at the back.
The whole forest is white,
the spider cheered. The lake soon froze over in the chilly temperatures. The little friends had lots of fun skating on the ice. "Bubble, don't chew the icicles," Dolly shouted to the baby beetle, but Bubble's mind was elsewhere. "Come, let's build a snowman," the snail boy said, but Bubble was not in a good mood. "I've got a sore throat, Berry. We'll build a snowman another time, okay?" Berry called Dr. Owl to come and take a look at Bubble.
Open wide,
The old owl instructed his patients.
Oh, it's very red. You've got a very sore throat and you need to rest in bed for a couple of days.
The little friends visited Bubble every day. Dolly even made him special tea. Flutter read Bubble's stories. She put the book down when the baby beetle drifted off to sleep and carried on from the same place when he woke up again. A couple of days passed and Bubble was feeling much better. "We can build that snowman now," Bubble said to Berry with a smile. Berry and Dolly decided to invite their friends for lunch.
The guests all arrived at noon.
It's really delicious,
Balthazar enthused.
Why isn't Dr. Owl here?
I don't know,
Dolly replied.
Perhaps he forgot. I know why Dr. Owl didn't come today. He's not well. He caught a chill. I met his chicks and they told me.
That can't be right,
Bubble blustered.
Doctors never get sick.
Why can't doctors get sick? A mechanic's car breaks down now and again. And a cobbler gets holes in his shoes,
Flutter explained to Bubble.
Let's pay him a visit and we can make him a present because it's very nearly Christmas,
Berry suggested. The 4 boys sat together and made a candle holder for Dr. Owl. They glued pieces of wood together, painted winter pictures on them, and added candles on top. It looks lovely, Stanley said, sounding satisfied. The girls made a colourful wreath out of paper. Dr. Owl can hang it on his front door, Leapy smiled. The next day they went to see Dr. Owl. The old owl was weak and lying in bed, but he was delighted to see his visitors. Oh, they are beautiful, he said with a warm smile when he unwrapped his presents. By the time Christmas Day came around, Dr. Owl was feeling much better. Mama Owl put biscuits and cordial on the table, and the owl chicks got out their favourite cards. They chatted and played together for a long time. On their way home, they saw that Dr. Owl had placed the wreath on his front door, and the candles were burning brightly in his window.
The board game.
It was a lovely spring day and Berry was playing a board game with Flutter. They had to follow a long trail from a mouse to a piece of cheese.
The winner is the first one to reach the cheese,
the little butterfly girl explained. Berry started the game. He threw the dice and moved his counter. Then it was Flutter's turn. She threw the dice and moved. I won! The little snail boy shouted when his counter reached the piece of cheese.
Okay, you won. Let's play it again.
Berry won the second game too.
I won. I'm the winner again,
the little snail boy shouted with pride.
Let's play another game.
They started to play the game again. This time, Flutter was the first to reach the piece of cheese.
I won, Berry. Now I'm the winner,
the little butterfly girl announced with a grin. Berry was so upset that he hid under the pine tree, where he threw the dice so that Flutter couldn't see.
I threw a 6,
but Flutter told him off.
That's not fair, Berry. You need to throw the dice where I can see it.
No.
Throw the dice again, Berry.
This time he threw a 2. He got left behind and Flutter won that game.
That's not fair. I want to win. That's cheating.
But Berry, that's the point of a board game. One player wins and then the other wins. You can't win every time.
But I can. I want to win every game,
Berry whined, and he was so cross that he threw the board game down on the ground.
Okay, if that's how you want it, you can play on your own.
And she flew away.
It'll be better on my own,
Berry grumbled. He threw the dice and moved his counter. He threw again and moved his counter, and he won one game after another. But he soon got bored of the game. He tried playing the game with his teddy, but his teddy wasn't a very exciting opponent. Berry eventually set off to look for Flutter again. It was no good on my own, he thought sadly to himself. He found Flutter playing cards with Dolly, Bubble and Balthazar in the meadow. "Can I play too?" Berry asked shyly.
Well, Berry, you can play, but you're not guaranteed to win. And I wouldn't like you to throw the cards down as well.
Flutter eventually shouted after Berry.
Berry, you can come and play, but only if you promise not to get cross if you don't win.
"I promise," Berry agreed and ran to join his pals. They sat playing cards until it got dark. Berry won one game, Flutter won another, and Bubble, Balthazar and Dolly all won one too. Berry was so happy to be playing with his friends that he forgot to get angry when he didn't win. Stanley the stag beetle flew by and shouted down to them. "Look, I've carved a roasting stick. Come on, let's make a fire and roast apples." They all seemed to like the idea. Eddie the potato beetle joined them. They all helped to build a fire, sliced apples up and put them on sticks and roasted them over the glowing embers. The little gang of friends ate up all the apples they cooked. Berry gave his last piece of apple to Flutter. He really wanted to say something nice to the little butterfly girl, but all he eventually said was, "Here, this is for you." When all the apples had gone, the friends pushed their sticks into the fire and drew pictures with them in the dark night sky.
December. Dolly's Music Box. The end of the year was here and winter had arrived. The friends all gathered on the hillside and were enjoying the chilly afternoon. When they got hungry, Iris invited everyone to her house for lunch. "That was delicious! Thank you!" they told her when they had finished eating, and they all helped to clear the table. Dolly spotted an odd little box on the shelf that had a ballerina on the top. "What's that?" "It's a music box. Turn the key on the side and you'll see." "It's so beautiful," Dolly dreamed. "Where is it from?" "I bought it at an advent fair on the other side of the hill." "Is it far?" "It's very far. I went on the train," Iris told her. "That's a pity." Time passed and the little beetles all set off home. Berry did not go home, but he went to find the magpie. "Dear magpie, would you please fly to the market and bring a music box back for Dolly?" "Of course. I'll go tomorrow, and if all goes well, I'll be back in no time," he agreed. Christmas was coming, and Berry and Dolly agreed to spend the day together. The Ladybird girl had sewn a cushion for Berry. Berry waited for the magpie, but he never reappeared. One day before Christmas, Flutter went to see Berry. "Why are you so upset?" asked the butterfly girl. "I wanted to give Dolly a music box, but the magpie still hasn't brought it. What shall I do? Have you got any ideas?" "We could be a music box. I'll stand on the box and I'll be the ballerina, and we'll ask Bubble to hide inside. Bubble will play music, and I'll turn around on the top like the dancer on Iris's box." "That's a fantastic idea! I'll call Bubble right away," Berry gasped. By the time Berry and Bubble arrived back, the butterfly girl had finished painting the sides of the box. "Come on, Bubble, hide inside," Flutter told him. Bubble started to play a tune on his flute. Oh, that's perfect, Berry said in astonishment. Christmas Eve at last arrived. The Ladybird girl had wrapped the cushion that she had made as a present. There was a sudden knock at the door. Berry was standing there and he asked Dolly to close her eyes. You can come now, Dolly, Berry shouted, and the Ladybird girl stepped into the room. Oh, a music box, she said in surprise. It's wonderful, she said and smiled as she hugged Berry. Then she hugged Flutter and took a peek under the box. Come and spend Christmas with me, said the Ladybird girl. They had just sat down when there was a knock on the window. I'm sorry I'm late, Berry, but I got caught in a snowstorm, Magpie stuttered and handed the music box to Berry. Then Berry handed it to Dolly. The Magpie decided to stay for a while, and they all spent Christmas together.
The Star House. One summer evening, Berry and Dolly were sitting playing cards in Dolly's house when they spotted a bright light over the hill. What was that? Berry asked. It looked like a shooting star. A shooting star? Let's go and take a closer look, Dolly suggested. Berry and Dolly held hands and walked in the direction of the strange light. Look over there, Berry! The little snail boy's mouth fell open in surprise. Right on the top of the hill stood a house the shape of a star. Where did that come from? It wasn't there the other day, Berry whispered. You stay here and I'll run and tell the others, Dolly whispered back, and she flew off to tell Balthazar, Flutter and Stanley. When they were all together, the group of friends crept slowly towards a peculiar house. Stanley knocked on the front door. A shy girl popped her head around the door. She had long hair that sparkled with tiny stars and golden wings that glistened in the darkness. Berry was the first to speak. Who are you and how did you get here? But the girl didn't say a word.
Can we help you?
No answer again. The girl just stood there and said nothing.
All right then, if you're not going to speak, then don't. Come on, let's go home.
Wait a minute, Dolly said. Perhaps she can't speak.
She can't speak?
The others asked back in amazement. Dolly picked up a stick and scripted a star on the ground. Then she handed the stick to the girl. The little girl reached for the stick and started to draw. A little harp? Dolly asked, and the little girl nodded. You've lost it? Flutter asked, and the little girl pointed to the window. It fell out of the window? The little girl nodded again.
I don't understand,
Balthazar grumbled. I understand, Dolly said. She lives up in the sky, but she dropped her harp out of the window, and she's come down here to look for it.
Then let's help her,
Balthazar suggested. Don't worry, we'll find it, they all told her, and they hurried off into the forest to search for her missing instrument. I can't find it, Berry said with a sorry sigh. I've looked in all the bushes.
I can't find it either, and I've looked absolutely everywhere,
Balthazar added. I'm going to take a look higher up, Flutter told them, and she flapped up into the trees. Here it is! Here it is! I found it! The little butterfly girl soon shouted.
Flutter lifted a little golden harp out of the canary's nest. She carefully handed the harp back to the star girl. The little girl flew back into the house and closed the door. She lifted a sparkling star out of her hair and gave it to Flutter. "Is that for me?" the little butterfly girl asked in surprise, and the star girl nodded. Then she sat in the window and started to play her harp. And as she played, the star house began to lift higher and higher. "She's flying up into the sky," Dolly said with her eyes wide in wonderment. Soon it looked as tiny as all the other twinkling stars in the night sky.
It's a shame that she had to go,
Stanley sighed. Flutter took very good care of her twinkling star. She kept it in a little box and only wore it in her hair on very special days. It always reminded her of the little girl playing the harp in her star house, high up in the sky. The Mushroom's Cap. Berry, Dolly, Balthazar, Flutter, Stanley and Bubble all set off for a long walk in the woods. They were strolling happily along when they heard someone crying. "It's coming from behind that bush," Berry whispered to the others. They saw a little mushroom crying, and he looked odd because he didn't have a cap. "Who took your cap?" Dolly asked in her kindest voice.
I don't know. It was missing when I woke up this morning.
"Don't worry, we'll help you. We'll find you another cap," Berry reassured the miserable mushroom. The friends all ran back to their houses and returned carrying all kinds of different caps and hats. "We've brought some new hats to try," they said, and tried them all on the mushroom's head in turn. Dolly put her dotted hat on him first, but it didn't seem to suit the mushroom at all. Then Flutter put her witch's hat on his head.
But I don't want to be a nasty witch,
the mushroom grumbled. Then Bubble produced a yellow baseball cap, but it was too small. Berry was next to try. "I've brought two hats. This is my gardening hat, and this is my devil's hat." The gardening hat looked funny on the mushroom's head, but he wasn't happy.
I don't like this one,
he said in a sullen voice. The devil's hat made him even angrier.
I'm not a little devil, you know,
he shouted with a red face. But he got most upset when Balthazar showed him the red saucepan.
But this is a saucepan. I can't go around with a silly saucepan.
"It's not a normal saucepan,"
Balthazar replied sharply.
"It's our snowman's hat."
The last one to try was Stanley the stag beetle, who had brought a top hat for the mushroom.
Oh, I quite like the look of this one,
the mushroom enthused.
But can't you find my old cap? That's the one I want to wear the most.
So the forest friends started to search for the mushroom's spotty cap. 3 canary chicks suddenly flew by. "We know where the mushroom's cap is. We saw 3 woodworms using it for a rowing boat." "Everyone down to the stream!" Dolly shouted. And sure enough, 3 woodworms were singing and rowing along in the mushroom's cap. "Give the mushroom his cap back," Berry shouted.
"But we promised to go visit our friends the fleas. We need a boat to get to their house."
"But that's a cap, not a boat, and it belongs to the mushroom. Give it back to him," Berry argued. The woodworms eventually gave in and gave the cap back. "But how will we go and see the fleas now?" they asked sadly. "We can take you. We're flying to the little island," the 3 canary chicks twittered. "Hooray! We're going to fly!" the woodworms shouted and jumped for joy. "But we have to take the mushroom his cap back first."
"You mean the boat?"
the naughty woodworms chuckled, but Dolly gave them one of her serious looks and they stopped laughing.
the mushroom said with a big smile as he put it on his head.
It fits just perfectly.
The woodworms hopped onto the canaries' backs.
Have a safe trip,
the mushroom shouted. Enjoy the flight, the others added. The forest friends all said a final goodbye to the mushroom and walked home with their hats on their heads. The Canary Chicks. One day, Christopher the Canary met Chloe and they fell in love. Chloe lived in an oak tree not far away from Dolly's house. The new couple built a nest on the most beautiful branch of the tree. Berry and Dolly watched them building their nest from the ground.
Look, Chloe's been sitting on the nest for days. Do you think she could be sick?
The little snail asked. He was worried.
No, Berry. I'm sure she's going to lay eggs and they'll hatch into canary chicks, Dolly told him enthusiastically. Eggs? Chicks?
Berry was confused.
Of course. Chloe will lay the eggs in the nest and she'll keep them warm until they hatch,
the ladybird said. A few days later, Chloe stood up and as she was arranging things in the nest, Berry noticed 3 tiny eggs.
3! There'll be 3 chicks,
he said to Dolly cheerfully. One morning they heard tweeting coming from the oak tree.
Hooray! The chicks have hatched,
Dolly exclaimed and gave Berry a big hug.
Can we take a look at them?
Dolly asked Christopher excitedly.
Of course you can, but please be careful. They're still very tiny,
the proud daddy replied. Christopher let Berry and Dolly hop on his back and he flew them up to the nest.
They're so cute,
Dolly whispered. The snail and the ladybird carefully patted the baby canaries. The little birds grew very quickly and they were soon ready for flying lessons. Chloe was their teacher and they got better day by day.
We've got to go and get some food. Be good,
Christopher told the chicks one morning. And don't even think about flying out of the nest without us. You're still very small and you can only fly with us, Chloe added. But the smallest chick was rather naughty.
Nonsense! I'm very good at flying. I'm going to try it on my own,
he said and jumped out of the nest.
You're not allowed! You're not allowed!
Tweeted the other 2, but they couldn't stop him. The 2 chicks were hopping nervously around the nest when their parents arrived back.
He flew off! Our little brother flew off!
They cried. Oh dear, but he's too small. He could be in all kinds of trouble, Chloe cried. Berry and Dolly heard all the fuss and set out to find the naughty chick. They looked for him everywhere. On the hill, in the mountains, by the lake, in the forest and in the meadow. But he was nowhere to be found. It was getting dark. How are we going to find him when it gets dark? Chloe asked, and she started to sob. But then, little lights appeared in the sky. The fireflies had come to help them.
We can make light. We'll help you find him,
they said.
There he is! There he is in the bush!
Berry shouted suddenly, and they all ran over. The little canary had fallen asleep in the bush. He was exhausted and shivering. Chloe took him in her wings and hugged him happily.
There you are. You should always do as you're told,
Christopher said. Chloe flew back to the nest with her chick on her back, and the fireflies danced around them like stars in the sky. The canary family was soon back together again. Good night, little chicks, Chloe whispered happily as she kept them warm under her wings. Gingerbread. December had arrived and the forest was covered in a thick quilt of snow. Berry and Dolly were sitting chatting in the Ladybird's dotty house.
Let's bake some gingerbread biscuits,
Dolly suggested with a bright smile. Berry and Dolly got to work in the kitchen. They bustled around in a cloud of spices and flour and rolled the biscuit dough out flat on the table. Dolly got all the gingerbread cutters out of the drawer. They cut lots of different shapes out and popped the biscuits in the oven to bake. When the biscuits were cooked to a crunchy crisp, Dolly took them out of the oven and put them in a pretty bowl. Then she carefully placed the bowl outside in the snow.
These hot biscuits will soon cool down in the winter chill,
she told Berry. Just then a magpie flew over the house. He could smell the delicious gingerbread biscuits, and he swooped down and carried the lot off in his big beak. When Dolly came out later, the bowl and biscuits had completely disappeared.
"Oh dear, someone's taken my yummy biscuits,"
she shrieked. "But who could have taken the bowl?" Berry asked. Berry and Dolly decided to go and search in the forest. The first friend they ran into was Iris the ice beetle.
"Oh Iris, someone has taken my yellow bowl full of fresh gingerbread biscuits. You didn't see who it was, did you?"
Dolly asked.
"Yes, I did. It was the magpie. He flew off in that direction."
They kept walking until they met the grub.
"Hello, grub. The magpie took my yellow bowl filled with gingerbread biscuits. Did you see which way he flew?"
The grub pointed. Not long after, Berry and Dolly caught sight of Bubble and Eddie, who were building a snowman.
"Have you seen the magpie? He took my yellow bowl and all our gingerbread,"
Dolly complained.
Yes, we saw him. He flew towards the stream,
the potato beetle replied.
Look, Dolly, fresh biscuit crumbs. The magpie must have flown this way, Berry suddenly shouted.
"If we follow the trail, it should take us to the magpie's nest,"
Dolly proposed. The pair of them followed the trail of crumbs, and it took them all the way to the magpie's nest and to the sweet smell of gingerbread. Berry and Dolly climbed up the tree and knocked on the magpie's door.
"Did you take my yellow bowl filled with fresh gingerbread?"
Dolly asked as soon as the magpie opened the door.
"Yes, it was me. I was very hungry. I saw the bowl sitting there, so I took it, but I can give it back to you."
"It's not nice to take what belongs to somebody else,"
Dolly said, and marched back to her house in a grumpy mood. Berry did his best to keep up with the little ladybird.
"Don't be angry, Dolly. I know that the magpie took your bowl, but he gave it back, and I'm certain that he'll apologise,"
the little snail said. Berry and Dolly invited their friends over that afternoon. Flutter the butterfly, Balthazar the bee, and Stanley the stag beetle all came around for tea. They all sat at the table and began to eat. It wasn't long after that they heard a soft knock on the front door. Dolly opened the door. The magpie was standing outside and looking very ashamed of himself.
"I brought you some rosehip cordial. I made it myself. Please take it as a gift to say how sorry I am for pinching your gingerbread," the magpie said.
"Why don't you come in and join us for a bite to eat, magpie? There's plenty of room for you at our table."
This made the magpie very happy. The friends sat around the table, munching on delicious gingerbread biscuits and sipping fresh rosehip cordial. They chatted and laughed late into the night.